back again with another video on my couch. So like I said in my previous video, I'm doing this because I don't want to overthink it, so I can bring you these tips every week. All right, so my name is Chioma, your pitch queen. Today we'll be discussing storytelling as a critical ingredient for your pitch. Right now, storytelling is very critical because it allows decision makers to connect with you on an emotional level before starting to hear the details of your business. Right, so imagine that you're telling me, how much you've made in a given period, or how much impact you've created, without actually connecting with me on why you started the business, what your motivation is, why exactly you're in this industry. Excuse me. Why you are, what's your driving force? How did this all start? Why must you be doing this? Right? So if I connect with you on that level, it's easier for me to understand your personality. It's easier for me to understand why exactly you're doing this. Because imagine that I know that you're very passionate about it. It's easier for me to believe in what you're saying because I know that it's coming from a deeper place. All right, so that's exactly what storytelling does for your pitch. It allows the people who you're talking to connect with you on that level emotionally before connecting to the details of your business. All right, now there are two types of stories: your personal, original story. That's number one. And then the experiences you have around that business. I'll explain what that means. Now, for some people, they have a personal story as to why they started their business or how their business, started. For instance, someone that has like a health entrepreneur can say, oh, in 2013 I had an accident and I couldn't find a hospital that can treat the kind of wound that I have, and I started to research all over the world how this thing can come to how I can develop a solution for that in my country. All right, and that's exactly how you started. So that's your personal story, right? Someone might say, oh, my child had didn't have hair or was born with so and so defect, but I started to research how exactly I can regain my child's confidence, how I can make her to have hair. I started to research this and this, and I came up with this solution that worked. Right now, my child's hair is back, and I'm helping other mothers with the same problem for their kids, right? I'm helping other mothers provide this solution for their kids who have the same problem, right? So this is exactly what I mean by a personal story, something that's happened to you that made you, or that motivated you, or that drove you into starting that business. That's your personal story. And this is very critical because people will want to, it's easier for me to connect with you on that level and know that, okay, it's something that you're passionate about, it's something that you have experienced yourself, and it's easy for you to pull through, and make sure that the business succeeds, right? First of all, people want to have that, so that scene or that aura of, oh my goodness, wow, that must be serious. Interesting. You want to say something, that you want to craft your story in such a way that people have goosebumps listening to you, right? Instead of just coming to say, oh, I have this innovation, it's going to heal the world, blah 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 blah. There has to be something else. There has to be something that will connect with them emotionally before the core of your business. All right, so that's your personal story. Now, for people who don't have personal stories like that, you can also create your stories with the significant experiences around your business. Now, for instance, I'm an example because my personal story is not compelling enough. I don't think it's compelling enough because a lot of people have this same story. So imagine that I say I run a fashion company, and the reason why I started fashion company is because my mom had a fashion house in the 90s, and I started to learn how to make dresses. I started to learn how to play with fabrics and colors and all of that stuff, and I became passionate about it because it's something that I watched her do every day, and I did it every day learning. I just became passionate about it, and I started to make dresses for people, right? Because a lot of people have the same story, so it's either your grandma or your mom somewhere, or your sister or your aunt somewhere, was in fashion, and you just started to learn how to make dresses, or to play with fabrics, whatever that is for your dolls, right? So a lot of people have the same story, and so I don't think it's compelling enough to use that as my personal story as to what motivated me to start my business, even though that is true. But I figure that for me, at least for me, it's not, I don't think it holds a lot of water that will shake the room, right? So remember that the reason we're having this conversation is because there's so many people who are doing the same thing as we're doing, but we need to stand out, right? We need to stand out. We need to be able to to win the opportunity where there are, you know, so many people vying for the same, or, you know, scrambling for the same opportunity. We need to be picked, right? So how can we be picked is standing out, basically. All right, so because I don't think that story is compelling enough, I decided that, you know what, I'm going to craft another story, right, from the experiences around the business. And I didn't even think about this so much when I was, you know, I didn't think about the structure to it. So it was when I was writing my book, the Pitch Mastery, that I put a structure to it. So I said, okay, you're either having your personal story or the significant experiences around the business. You know, because of my experience, I didn't want to use my personal story. I had to craft something else from the experiences that I have around my business, and I'll explain what that means. Maybe I should find a name for it. Right? So for other people who don't have original personal stories, like the one examples I gave, you can use the stories around the business that you're doing. So it could be someone, you know, it could be something you read from a book. It could be, and you got inspired by it. It could be listening to someone speak and you got inspired by it. It could be an experience you had, maybe going for an event, or it could be something that happened to someone else you know, and, you know, you got very inspired by it. It could be anything that's not your personal story, right? It could also be experiences around the business that you're running. So for instance, for Red Button, because I no longer want to use the story of my mom had a fashion house, now I'm talking about how the experiences I have has shaped my thinking around the business and how I should be able to create more impact in my community. So remember that Red Button is a fashion company, but because it has an environmental angle to it, I am pitching the environmental angle because that is the more compelling story than that you're making beautiful dresses. I mean, like I said, a lot of people are making beautiful dresses. That doesn't make me stand out. There has to be something else that's unique about my business, and that's why I've crafted the story, you know, that way, right? So now this is how the Red Button story goes. In Lagos State, where I live, we are faced with the menace of water hyacinth. It's an invasive seaweed that disrupts economic activities on the waterways. Imagine that fishermen cannot fish because of this material. Boat transport operators cannot move their boats because of this material. It's also a threat to our biodiversity. Now, what we have done is that we've collaborated with another social enterprise when we found out how this material can be useful in fashion production. Now, we partner with these other companies who are experts in upcycling these waste materials for us to use as raw materials for our fashion production. Now, what we've done in this process is that we've empowered so many other people because we're upcycling this material and using them for business. In fact, what we've done in a more general scale is that we have created a whole new economy out of an environmental hazard, because everybody on that value chain is benefiting from the economic activities that we've created out of this invasive seaweed. All right, so this is an experience that is connected to the business, not necessarily my experience, right? Not necessarily my personal story. It's the problems that I've discovered around the business. So things are happening around this area. I think we need to solve the problem. Things are happening around this, you know, because of this, you know, I think I need to, and I'm inspired by it. I think I need to be part of the solution, right? So it's either you're using your personal story or the experiences around your business. So because of this, people are more connected to a deeper reason why I'm doing this business and the impact that I'm creating in the community, both social and environmental impact, and they are more likely to give me attention than if I say I make beautiful dresses, right? So imagine that I come and say, well, I make beautiful dresses for women, you know, women professionals, or I make dresses for you know, work from home moms, right? Even though that's very, you know, very critical value as well, but I do not think that it's critical enough at the level that I'm competing, right? I don't think it's critical enough at the level I'm competing. I'm not saying anybody's speech is not right. I'm only giving you examples, or I'm giving you stories and experiences based on my experience and where I am, right? Because I don't want to compete at a certain level. I don't want you to have any reason to compare me with anyone. I don't want you to have any reason to think about, you know, if you're supposed to give me attention, if you're supposed to give me the opportunity. I don't want you to have any reason to think about it. I just want you to say, she's making it. Nah, she made the call. Oh, she's going there. oh, no, I need to fund that business, or I need to be, I needed to make a decision just by listening to my story. I don't need to think about it, right? That's where I'm coming from. There's nothing wrong with making dresses, beautiful dresses, and saying you make beautiful dresses. I'm just saying from my experience, from how I know best, is that I want to be different. I want to stand out, and I want you to have goosebumps when I'm talking to you about my business. All right, so that's about it on the 2 types of storytelling. I hope you have gained something from this, and it's helpful for you to craft your own stories. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions around storytelling for your pitches. Let me know if you have any questions around pitching in general. Next week I'll be bringing you more videos, of course, around the different topics on how to craft a winning pitch. So thank you very much. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Until next time, have a good one. Bye.